guys, welcome to yet another episode of Toke Moment. This is the elevator Toke Moment, and yes, I see all the comments about my glasses. Like, guys, it's a look, okay.
Loewe.
Today I have with me Loewe, as you said. Today I have with me one of my favorite people ever, Denola Grey.
Hey, baby girl.
Hey, Booski.
How
I'm
you
trying to do
doing?
that.
Yeah, I mean, you
Denola,
got
I
done
miss
some
you in
nails.
my life. Where have you been?
Girl,
Oh
I've
my,
been traveling. I've been traveling.
I know. It's
Trying to
like
find myself.
it's boy. Haven't we all been on that self?
2022 has been a mess, man. I don't know. I mean, it's been God. I mean, praise God and whatnot. But like, damn, like,
Damn.
I feel like being raked through the coals. You know, I ain't got no edges no more. This is painted on, guys. It's painted on. It's been rough. It's been rough.
You know what is so weird? I said to someone that my 2022 is basically full of disappointed but not shocked. That's how to define TM 2022. Disappointed but not shocked. The amount of times I've had to pick myself up this year. And every time I remember your voice, you know, one of the best advice you gave to me.
Oh, God.
You would never.
We be talking, though. Like,
you said to me that when you don't heal, you spill over people who don't want. And then you said to me also that don't look at it as a broken heart. Look at it as it cracked your heart open to love.
Bigger capacity to love, yes.
Yeah. I would always remember that.
Yeah, you know, I mean.
And then this is not even only relationship that has done me goes this year.
Is it friendship as well, I mean?
Friendships.
Dreams,
I think, you know, the only thing I think that I can say that this year I was in the driving seat, and I've been in the driving seat for a couple of years now, is work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've been on it.
And I'm grateful for it, and I don't take that for granted, friend. But there's some moments where this year was one of, okay, outside of what you do, who are you?
There's a lot of identification with because, you know, I went on a retreat in Soho, Soho House. There was a retreat in Oxford. It was called Retreating While Black. And one of the segments of the weekend-long list of activities we did was somebody was like, oh, okay, introduce yourself, or who are you? And they made all of us write it down. And everybody in the room wrote what they did, not who they were. And that was the point of the exercise. Like, there was something to be said about an over-identification with success and status based on what you do. And then they were like, that's not your truth. It's what you do to earn a living, and it's what, you know, maybe you're good at. But who are you? And a lot of us couldn't answer it. And I think that's like literally the problem. Like, there's such an over-identification with the way you see yourself, the way other people see you, your accomplishments. And sometimes I rewrote mine a few months after that, and I was like, my name is Denola. I am love in all its forms. I'm complex, I'm simple, I'm everything, nothing, and something all at the same time. You know, that's literally like, I got to that point as I've been like, oh man, I can't say actor, fashion consultant, this and this. It's what I do. It's not really who I am. I'm like, I'm just a lover boy, full of love and light. Until you cross me, then I'm a raving asshole.
I mean, before we get to that crossing, you're just looking at you. There's a deep admiration for that journey. I'm so proud of you for going on that journey, because that's one of the journeys that I definitely want to find myself doing. And there's a lot of fear inside of me sometimes, because it's like, okay, just take your hands off work and take some time off and worry about you. And I haven't been able to do that in 12 years.
Why do you
do you
think
know what
that
I mean?
is, though?
I don't know why I'm so scared. I think I might be scared of what I might find. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I'm comforted with the success. And it's just when you said that, you know, when you write a list of what you do, we've been doing it for so long that it becomes a part of us. And so many other sides of us have died on this journey because we're trying to get to here.
Yeah.
And you get here with all the battles and all the battle scars, rather. And it's like, what am I going to do with all of this?
And you couldn't have put it any better. Like, there's no, and I think maybe sometimes people think that it's okay, now I know who I am and it's never changing. It's always going to change. And it's never like, oh, you finally get to one point and everything just works out. Life is about ebbing and flowing. And, you know, when you ignore some parts of yourself now, it will scream for your attention in the future at a very inopportune time. So it's best to like pay attention to the parts of you that are screaming out to be heard and loved. And there's something to be said about accepting who you are in totality. Like, doing what you do, I'm sure, and also doing what I do, like you're expected to be on it, to be cool, to be this and that and the other. But then that I know you personally. Like you're not like you're a goofball. You know, you're funny. Like you're really funny. You're silly. You dance. You know you crack jokes, and you also have the persona that is like yeah, a slayer. Two or three things can be true at the same time. But because there's an over identification with what the general public sees, sometimes it even happens to me. I feel like who I really am is not enough. So that's why I don't go out as much. So you probably don't see me out as much. I like keeping who I am, like that magic for the people who get it. And the ones who don't can actually like F off.
You know, I actually identify with that because I feel like some parts of me is always excited at the thought of people not knowing who I am.
Yeah.
I like when I let you in and you realize that it's completely different from the radio girl or the television girl or the fashion girl or this, and it's just this is who I am. And I feel like, you know, it's also there's a catch-22 because as we grow older, one of the things you said stood out for me. We're constantly healing from something. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't stop. And so many of us do not even know that we're healing from certain things. You know, adulthood is so tough.
It is. It really is. You know what? Can we just talk about that for a second? Because I actually accosted my mom the other day. I'm like, you did this to me. Because you actually brought me here.
Yeah, I didn't ask to be
I
born.
didn't ask to be born. And now I have to like take care of myself and feed myself and pay for things.
Like, how did they do it?
How did they do it?
I don't know.
I'm 32 now. And by the time my parents were 32, they had me and my older brother. And I don't know how they were. I mean, it was definitely different back then. You know, they had good jobs. But still, I can barely take care of myself, let alone even thinking about getting another human child. Sorry, is that how you carry them?
Oh my God. Really, I think you carry them like this.
And like a Birkin.
Not
Look
like
at my
a
baby.
Look
at my
well, you can
baby.
stop the baby in the Birkin
Yeah,
bag
well, I mean, just
when they're cute.
Child abuse, sorry. But like, hi.
Yeah. Like a dog.
I think you just pooped in there.
Oh my God. No, but then you are hitting solid points. I feel like also some of our parents did us a disservice by not also sharing their process with us. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, life was much easier back then. Opportunities, work-wise. But I also think it's just the terrain as well because
it's gotten a bit more complex. I mean, I think just even with, I think also another thing that they didn't have that we have that's also something that maybe makes us worse off is we have way too much access to other people's lives. So they didn't have social media to like see what their friends were doing, right? Or not doing. They were just facing their fronts. And I've had to tell myself countless times that like the only timeline that matters is my own.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if all my friends are winning awards today and I'm not doing anything. It just matters that like I'm trying my best.
But how did you get there?
I'm still not all the way there. No, I'll be with you. Some days, like I mean, to be honest, like for a long time, I was kind of like, everyone should face their fronts and mind their business. But then the older I got, the more my friends got in relationships. Some of them started getting married. Success. The ones that had like trackable jobs started getting more success. I was like, damn, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that really bothered me this year. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And see, the thing is, we are so harsh on ourselves sometimes. Like I was telling somebody the other day that like, I haven't done anything I'm proud of. And they're like, are you actually mad?
You said that?
I said that. I haven't done anything I'm proud of.
Can I tell you certain things that I'm proud of you? And I always seize this moment. I didn't mean to cut you short because when we're alive and we can reach each other and we can lift each other up and give each other our flowers, I am a big believer of doing that. I learned something since last year. I never hang up the phone without saying love you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you notice that every time we speak, I'm always like, love you, because you just don't know when that will be the last time you speak to the person. Yep. And I want everyone in my life to know that I love them. Yeah. Now, going by what you said, whenever you feel like you don't know what you've achieved, looking from the outside, I can tell you, you've given a voice to countless of people to be authentically themselves.
I appreciate that.
You've literally been in an era where if people are looking in the mirror and they feel a certain type of way and what they see is not how they feel, they can walk out that door and be like, you know what, if Denola Grey can wear this and do this, then I can. And I think that you don't even understand how powerful that is. Really, and you need to begin to walk in that purpose.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, That actually means a lot to me. I honestly,
You inspire me.
what?
You
Girl,
do.
stop. Come
There are
on.
days that I'll be like, I will tell my stylist, maybe we shouldn't do it. Nah, maybe. And they're like, Denola will pull this off in my mind. And I'm like, you know what? And you do it and walk in the room, and your last AMVCA speech, I had tears in my eyes because in not too many words, you talked about being different
Yeah.
and embracing your difference. And it's in your face. It hasn't always been easy because you and I have sat back several times and
Phew, child.
had these conversations, but how you put up a bold front every single day you step out of the door. You know, I'm bold.
Yeah.
We're Scorpios. I think that's why we
No,
also.
you're a Scorpio. I'm a Leo. So technically speaking, we shouldn't even be getting along.
Really? I thought we were
Yeah.
Scorpio.
August 13th, baby.
So why are you throwing your birthday party in November?
It's not my birthday party. It's my welcome back to Lagos party. I'm a Leo. It's all about me. Come on. You know?
The kind of friends I have. I
Yeah.
remember because in I don't know why I thought this was
Yeah.
a birthday thing you
No, it's not a birthday.
invited me
It's
to
just like a
recently, but
welcome
yeah,
to Lagos
yeah. But
thing.
going back to what we're saying about this journey and you, because I know a lot of people are probably watching you right now and listening to you and wondering how is Denola navigating being different in this sort of climate. I know you're not always here.
I'm not always here.
But being here, how do you just be like, fuck it? Let me just be me.
I think
fuck you guys.
I think there comes a point in everyone's life, and honestly, I'm not even trying to gas you. Like, you've actually inspired me as well. Like you're not a stranger to like controversy and you know, people just talking and basically being polarized and being judged for just being yourself. And the way you handle it, you're like sunglasses to the BS. You know, it. I've actually had that conversation before that, like, man, she doesn't have two heads. Like, if she doesn't give a shit, then I don't give a shit either. So it's not, I think it's an uphill battle for me. But the thing is, I've had a lot of practice. I got bullied a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And
The night we spoke about that, do you remember the night we actually spoke?
Yeah.
We took off all of this.
All of this.
And
no, we were on your balcony. I remember,
We sat back and we spoke.
Yeah, we did.
And you know, our scars are really...
They're real. I mean, they follow you. But the thing is, like, I was in boarding school. I didn't say you call it Kwara State, like Offa. My parents dropped me in the middle because they said, you are too spoiled and you're too proud. So they sent me there to, like, you know, I was there for 2.5 years, and I couldn't hang. Like, I just couldn't do it. But they bullied me. But then...
Did you tell them back home you were being bullied?
1,000%. But, like, they were like, it can't be that bad. But then eventually they had to pull me out because they're like, okay, this child is not thriving here anymore. But then I realized something.
Did you know at that time that it was bullying? Because sometimes I feel like as kids...
I mean, I think it was my normal. Like, because even when I was in Green Springs before, like, I still wasn't really, like, I had a hard time connecting with people, especially guys. Like, they just didn't want to be my friend. And I never was asked to be on football teams, thankfully, because F sports, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Up Manu or whatever. So this is my dad's team, sorry.
Yeah, but I feel like with you guys.
I was like, thank God. But then I just always felt like I wasn't good enough or accepted enough. So I just kind of kept to myself a lot. So I think in a way, it was my normal. I didn't really think, I just thought that people were mean. And I thought maybe I was too soft. So I
Did you build walls?
No, well, yes, actually, with my mom. And it took me a lot to let people close to me because I just didn't want them to, like, be mean to me. So I didn't really have any real proper friends until I was about maybe 16, 17. And then by that time, a lot of them now went abroad for school. I was here. I spent 2 extra years in Nigeria after high school because I was like 15 when I graduated and I wanted to go to university. And I was by myself for those 2 years. Like, everybody had gone. So me, Lore, I was just at home in my house, just like, Jesus Christ. And I had a lot of time to think. And then it just got to a point where I'm kind of like, once I get into university, I'm going to do things differently. And thankfully, I met one of my best friends in my entire life, like 4 months before I went to university. And we happened to be going to the same tiny-ass conservative Baptist university in Texas. So, and we've been friends since for 14 years now. Wow. So yeah, it's been, and so ever since then, I now went from having 0 friends to being one of the most
life of the party,
popular people in college. Like, a rumor went around in university that I was a prince.
African prince.
African
That
prince.
always was.
And I told them, I'm like, guys, I'm not. And they're texting, they're like, Denola, we know you are. Stop lying to us. I'm like, I'm not.
I mean, if you
sure.
showed up looking fabulous all the time,
Oh, I was always in a look.
they're
I
gonna
was
be
always
like,
in a look.
he definitely
I was
is
in a look. I was like
some inherited
something. I was like, you know what?
from Zamunda or
I
something.
let it happen. They ended up writing an article about me in university. So I went from like literally not being able to connect with being able to connect. And I think that's when, I don't know exactly what I'm doing at any given point, but I know what my purpose is in life. I'm here to make people feel something. Outrage, happiness,
whatever
hope.
it is. Y'all feel something.
Y'all gonna feel something. Eat it.
So I think one of the reasons why we connect so much is that we're very, very similar in the sense that I wasn't always the swan. I was the ugly duckling growing up. Not necessarily ugly. My hair grew funny. I also dealt with, loss at a very young age.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that.
Dealing with loss, I didn't know the vacuum it left in me that I always wanted to create the perfect family because I had mine taken away from me. Yeah. So I would lie about people being my family members in school that were not my family members. It's so weird.
You told me.
I didn't know that was a trauma I was dealing with. Like, I'll just be like, this senior is my older sister. And just tell people in my class that I have 5 sisters and I have this. And then it wasn't true. But I just always felt like my perfect family had been taken away from me at such a young age that I would imagine.
Dreaming of, like you were.
I'll daydream a school mother who is supposed to look after me in school automatically becomes my sibling. And it, for a very long time, led me not to have boundaries because you always want to have people around you and you never want to, people react to loss differently. Yeah. Some people, become very, very withdrawn. And I think I went through every phase. Yeah. I went through a withdrawn phase too where, that wasn't working out, trying to make everybody my friend. And then I just went to a Lone Ranger phase. And,
like me against the world.
Me against the world, rebellious, just doing things crazily because there's a cry for something.
Just like, what, I remember that night when we spoke about this, and because before I came over to yours that day, I think that was the first time I came to yours, and I had always liked you, like from the jump. I never had an issue with you, but then you hear things and you're like, I wonder what this person is like properly. But then that day honestly humanized you a lot for me.
You sent me a message after, actually.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for sharing your truth with me. I think I said that because I think I learned so much about you, and a lot of things made sense. And what really struck me about it was how aware of it you were. Like, you knew exactly why you were the way you were. And you also let me even offer some insight as well as to, I was like, oh, do you think maybe because of this that you have to do this?
Why, yeah.
And I really appreciate that. And honestly, and I'll say it again, I am so sorry that you went through so much as a child.
Thank you.
It's not an easy thing to kind of navigate such big changes and big losses.
Then you don't even know if that's what I mean by we're constantly healing from certain things.
Yeah.
Because back then, you don't even know how huge this is. You don't know how this is going to change your life and come out in different areas.
Effectively, you show up in the world.
You just show up with exactly. Yeah. And I found out that as an adult, there are things that will happen to me and a memory might pop up, and it's from something that happened to me as a child that I haven't completely fully unpacked.
Yeah.
Oh God, being an adult is a lot.
But basically, there's something I read because I'm not a religious person. I'm more spiritual. There's something I read that basically adults are just children with trauma.
Yeah.
And so at any given point, you're just really doing a lot of work to heal your inner child. And so those memories, and it's really fascinating, when those memories come, it means that it's like a trapped energy or trapped issue that has come up for review. And it's up to you to kind of reparent yourself in those moments and be like, this was the first time I felt this emotion with this memory. What could I tell myself then to help them get through that? And you reparent that, reparents that version of you, and that child is then healed, and that trauma slowly dissipates away. And you don't carry it in your body anymore.
So I think the first thing, just going by what you're saying, one of the biggest things for me is I have a lot of trust issues.
Oh, same.
And I think the first time my trust was broken was actually by God.
Oof.
And that sometimes you hear that, oh God, and I'm like, God, how do I forgive you when you were the one who hurt me first. You know what I mean? It was so silly. And if I say it, people will laugh at me. But I remember, back then my parents had taken me to a revival. And the pastor at the revival had said, when you go home tonight, because back then parents and they were always, oh man, for me, just, So we used to go to CAC and then, these revivals where we'll take mats and we'll fall asleep and there'll be water because they're there praying the kingdom of God down. And I remember I was awake at the time when the revival was coming to an end, and the pastor said, when you go home tomorrow night, ask God to visit you and come to you and talk to you and show himself to you. And it's weird. This is the very first time I'm ever admitting this.
Ooh,
right from when I was a young girl, I would always think so deep, like, why am I here? Who am I? What's inside of me? Is this like I used to always have those moments where either I'm taking a bath, I'm on the toilet, that I'm just imagining what's inside of me. Who am I? And I remember I held on to that word because I wanted God to come to me to tell me who I was. And I was brushing my teeth and I said, God, I'm going to bed. Please wake me up. Like, I want to talk to you tonight, like I'm anticipating. And he never came and it broke my heart. It broke my heart so much that I never talked to anyone about it. I just thought God didn't like me because he didn't come to visit me that night.
Do you know the funny thing about it? Like, when you say those things, like, who am I and whatever, the answer is like literally right there.
Really?
You are the person asking those questions. That's who you are.
You see why I brought you here? Because dinner is so deep, guys. This is what happens every time.
It's the trauma, guys. Thanks. My therapist will thank you, guys. I'll send you like, yeah, ooh, it's the trauma.
Oh my God, the trauma, boy.
Yeah, but it's what and it's so true. Like, you are the being that's asking those questions.
Yeah, but who is that person? Like, what is the being? This face? Like,
an expression of God. That's just honestly what it is.
So why didn't as a child, why would God rather have me heartbroken and not just maybe just whisper in my ear when you're sleeping that I'm here? Like, I was anticipating Denola, and that was the first man who left me, who stood me up. All my life, my trust issues.
And ever since then, oh Lord.
My trust issues started
have mercy.
from there. Like, Lord, if you could do this to me, and of course other human beings will do that.
I don't have an answer to that, but I will say this.
Even my therapist doesn't have an answer to that.
But the thing is, look, I think we're always searching for God, and what I've resolved to, because again, like I said, this year has been oh my God. Good God Almighty! Like, I think it was so bad that at some points I attempted to pray in Yoruba, and my Yoruba is not that great. So for me, I was like,
God, I beg.
Please. But I realized something. God is in everything, and God is in everyone, and God is not a stationary thing. It's a different expression in different ways, and it may not necessarily be, God is in the details. So it may not necessarily be how you expect God to show up, but God shows up in numerous ways. It could be through a meaningful conversation. It could be through a chance encounter. It could also be in the way that when things that happen, you're still standing. That grace and that
but
protection.
we have to have that conversation, Lord. If you're listening to Denola and I, stop trying to test me as a strongest
I'm tired
soldier.
I said it yesterday.
I am not.
Tired of going through things that make me stronger.
When do I get to the other side?
It's enough. It's like,
my friend.
Thanks and whatnot, and but like, Mulati low Lola and Lafia. She understand. Like, I need to just.
I'm like, this whole when people tell you things like, oh, it's because God can trust you, it makes you handle this battle.
I don't want to be trusted.
God, please don't trust me anymore. Do you understand? It's just even just trying to navigate my mental health being sane, dealing with all the businesses that I have, and still finding yourself, finding ways to open up, and you still get shat on. And then guess what? Because you're a good person, you have to forgive, not for them.
For yourself.
For yourself. But also
at the
do you know how many things I've had to forgive that I didn't even need to talk about? I just, when we are healing from things we can't even talk about. Therapy is almost like, when you have a wound, they have to scale the wound for them to see fresh. skin for it to heal. So in us evacuating all of that is the pain that you feel. And that pain is a loss. I remember the first couple of weeks I was in therapy, I didn't want to go back because I just hated each time I'd go there.
You
It
feel
was like there was a
dragged. That's it,
ball
they
in
just
my
dragged you.
my a
Yeah.
ball in my throat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand why it was so painful
Did you cry?
until the day I let it all out. I cried.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's trapped energy. That's just trauma. And I think the goal in life, and I think that's how you know, is knowing who you are outside your trauma. That's who you really are. So to answer your question, who am I? Remove all the trauma and the conditioning and who you've had to be to live with that pain. That's who you really are.
I like the fact that I have quality people in my life where if I even call you and I want to just even rant, you just always remind me you're a bad bitch. After I finish ranting, Denola will be like, okay, are you done? Are you done? Okay, TM, are you done? Right, you're a bad bitch. You're this, you're that, you're that. And I'm like, ooh, okay, that felt nice.
With no charges.
Thank you, my love.
You're
and
welcome,
and you know what? I'm so proud of the man that I see every time I look at you. I'm happy for your growth and how you are literally just authentically yourself.
We're trying.
A lot of people are looking at you and wishing if only I could just have the balls to stand in my truth and embrace it all and be like, you know what, this is who I am. Love me or leave me.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Love you.
So good luck with everything.
Thanks, my love.
And I can't wait to have you back. Maybe we'll talk when we found something else that is
tricking us.
Not tricking us.
Hopefully not tricking us.
When we've healed past this, and then we can now be like, remember that one time?
Oh my God, that was crazy. LOL, stop.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Love you too much.
Yeah.
Love you too. I hope I'm doing that right.
It's the nails.
Yeah,
it's actually the nails. You kind of have to, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm doing it right.
Yeah, you're doing it right.
I finally got it. See? Chat with you guys on the next episode of Toke Moments.
Mwah.